Taking out the staple?
No, don't take out the staple. Leave it in, just take out the lesson 1 booklet. We kind of started ratios on Friday, right? I did like a little overview with from what elementary school you came from. Yes? Here's what I would like you to do. I would like you quietly for the next 5 minutes just to read over this front page again. Read over it, and then we're going to do the next activity together. Okay? Start by reading this quietly. So after you're done reading, if you can go to the next page, we'll do this together. It's called, is this a ratio or not? And I'll call on you, just raise your hand. How many of you are Giant fans? Giants football. Tonight, 7:15, right? Game time? Okay, so 2-to-1. Is that a ratio or is it not a ratio? Raise your hand. Will, get it started. 2 hands with that catch.
Yes.
How many agree with Will? It is a ratio. Yes, a ratio is defined as a comparison between 2 positive numbers. They can't be negative. One of them can be a 0, but both can't be a 0, according to the definition. Okay, right here. What about the next one? 1 to 2. Gabriella, 2 hands with that catch. 1 to 2, Gabs.
Yeah.
How many agree? Yes. I agree. -1 to 15. Why no? Right. Neither number can be negative. -1 will not work, so we're going to put down no for that. 0 to 5. Olivia. How many agree yes? Yep. 0 is allowed. 3 to 4.
Yes.
That's also a yes. And finally, 0 to 0. Kaz. Why yes? You're half right. There is an exception. Right, they can't both be 0. You can't compare nothing to nothing. It's an invalid ratio. One number can be a 0, the other can be a 0. They just both can't be 0. So we have to say no for 0 to 0. Okay? Everybody clear on that? All right, we did number 2 on Friday when we started to look at ratios with the schools attended. Yes, sir. Let me go here. You talk about letter C? It's -1 to 15, and they can't be negative quantities, so that's why that's a no. Yes, if you ever have a question, stop me, slow me down, raise your hand, and let me know. Okay? Okay, we did number 2 kind of informally on Friday, so let's move on to the next page, and we'll talk about building our first ratio table. Does everybody know what the word co-ed means? A lot of students don't know what that word means. Do you know what co-ed means? Right, it means boys and girls. So if you have a co-ed team, that means both boys and girls can play on that team. So I'm going to just read this out loud while you follow along. It says the co-ed soccer team has 4 times as many boys as it has girls. We say the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls on the team is 4, followed by a colon and then the number 1, which we read as 4 to 1. Okay, that's what's also called our given ratio. We're telling you that this is a soccer team, and for every 4 boys, or we can say for every girl, there's 4 boys. It's a 4 to 1 ratio. We're going to fill that out on our ratio table. 4 boys for every girl, and that would make the total number of players, if that was the only ones that were on the team, what would be the total number on that team? It would be 5. And that's going to take me to my first bullet. Usually, soccer teams aren't that small, right? So if we had 4 boys and 1 girl on the team, there'd be a total of 5. Is that enough for an entire team? Chances are, unless they're like really, really little kids, most of the time it's no. But what we can do is we can figure out all the possibilities of how many girls and how many boys are on that team based on the ratio that they gave us. And here's how we do it. Start with what they gave us again. There were 4 boys to every single girl for a total of 5. All right, now let me see how smart you really are. What if I told you that there's 2 girls on the team? How many boys would there have to be if I'm telling you that the ratio is 4 to 1? Franco, I'm going to you. 2 hands with that.
3.
How many agree? 3. We have some disagreement. It's not 3. But you'll see, once we get it, it's going to come to you. All right? Toss it to anybody that you want. Toss it to one of your classmates. All right, Will, if there's 2 girls, how many boys? How many think? 8. Will, how did you do it? How did you figure it out?
You can times the number by any number, and then you times the boys by any number, and then you have to times the same number with the girls.
I think I know what you're trying to say, but see if you could say it a different way. And you're right, by the way. It's now 8 to 2. But how did you get this? And it came to you probably naturally. But how did you figure out that that was 8 if I told you it was 2? I see what you did. So you went from here to here. When you went from here to here, you multiplied by 2 and multiplied by 2. Gotcha. That would work. How many total? And look, it works here too. Times 2. Now what you're going to see when you build these tables, there's more than one way to figure out the pattern. This is just one way. Got another question for you. Hold on to that football. Instead of multiplying by 2, how much did you add by to get from here to here? To get from here to here, you added how much? Okay. Added 4. What about to get from here to here? You added 1. You could do it both ways. Okay? And I'm going to show you yet another way that you could figure it out. Now, let's do this. What if I told you 3 girls? Figure out how many. Where's my football now? I'll take it. Ella, right? Coming to you, Elle. Good catch. That was a bad throw. Elle, 3 girls would make how many boys in that 4 to 1 ratio?
16.
She says 16 before I put it down. Agree or disagree? How many say disagree? How many agree? How many are not too sure? It's not 16. What do you think? Yeah. How many think 12? All right, that's going to work, and I'll show you why. Okay? If you take, look, ready? 1 times what makes 3, everybody? 1 times what makes 3? 3. Therefore, 4 times 3 is going to make that 12. Or, we're counting by 4s, we're counting by 1s. Okay, we're counting 8 plus 4, there's our plus 4 again, gets us 12. 2 plus 1 gets us our 3. How many total players? 15. Now, here's another way to do it. Everything here that I'm showing you is going from row to row, row to row. What if I go cross column? To get from 1 to 4, what am I doing and by how much? That's another way to do it. I'm doing what operation to get from 1 to 4 and by how much? Okay, if you say add 3, it has to work here too, and it doesn't. 1 plus 3 is 4, but 2 plus 3 is not 8. So it can't be adding. Go. If it is times 4, it should work here too. 2 times 4 is? 3 times 4 is? And it works that way also. All right, what if I tell you 4 girls? Antonio, how many boys would that make?
That would make 16.
And how did you do it?
Well, I did it. It's weird. Like I knew that like it's 4 to 1, so I knew that each one girl's 4. So then 2 girls would be 8, and then 3 girls would be 12.
Okay.
Would be 16.
You're going to find, yes, and you're going to find when we do ratios, all right, I'm going to show you so many different ways to do it, and really it comes down to you pick the way that works best for you. Okay, like this ratio table, I've showed you how you can do it using multiplication. I showed you how you can do it by an additive pattern. I'm going to show you something a little bit later down here called a tape diagram. There is more than one way to do something and still get the answer right. And you're going to find, I'm going to give you multiple strategies, and you're going to find the way that works best for you. Let's complete our table. By the way, what's Antonio, our total number of players under 16 and 4 would be how many total?
Would be 20.
All right, last one. Ready? I'm going to give it to you in reverse. What if I told you 20 boys? How many girls would there have to be? Where's my football at? Going to Liam. Liam, how many girls? That sounds good. And how many total? You got it. Okay, let's practice. Let's go to the next page. And now I'm going to change the ratio on you. Go ahead. Yes. 8 times 2 is 16. You could do it that way. 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4. It'll work. All right? Yeah, I mean, you're going to pick the way that works best for you. Now, I think when you get to this 3, now we have a new ratio, 3 to 2. If I told you 3 to 2, well, let's put it in. 3 boys, 2 girls. How many total, everybody? 5. Can you figure out the next ratio that's equivalent to 3 to 2? And that's what we're creating. It's something called equivalent ratios. And this was tricky, my first 2 classes, because you can't really tell by figuring out what you're multiplying by, what you're multiplying 2 by to get to 3. So, what do we do now? What's our next equivalent ratio that we can use, and will it work? Gabs, go. Where's my 6 and where's my 4? 6 boys? 6 boys, 4 girls. Let's see if it works using the additive method. What am I adding by? 3 to 6. What am I adding by?
3.
Plus 3. To get from 2 to 4, what am I adding by?
2.
That will work. That will work. Or multiplying by how much? Multiplying by 2. What's the next equivalent ratio? By the way, what's our total? 10. What's the next equivalent ratio on the table? Yeah. Go.
It's 9 to 6.
Count by 3. Count by 2. That'll work. A lot of students like it to do it this way because once you have your given ratio, 3 and 2, count by 3s, count by 2s, and you'll always get it. What's the total? And by the way, count by 5s. Total? 15. Do the next 2 equivalent ratios. I'll call you up to the board and you can put them in. All right, John, so do the next row. Pick any color you want.
So the next row it'll be 12.
Mm-hmm.
And the next row it'll be 8.
Yeah. Total.
The answer total will be 20.
I may have 12, 8, and 20. Works. That works. And the last one. Steven. Come on up, Stevie. I may have 15, 10, and 25. Stevie, what works best for you? Are you counting by 3s or are you using multiplication? How did you do it?
One by 3 is here, 1 by 2 is here,
Okay.
and 5.
You got it. That's a strategy. Okay, in this example, I cannot say that there's 3 times as many boys as girls because that would be a 3 to 1 ratio. I can say that for every 3 boys, there are how many girls? Right. There are 3 times as many boys for every 2 girls. I'm going to show you another way that you can do this called tape diagrams. How many of you done tape diagrams down in elementary school? Here's how I can show you this. Our ratio that they gave us was 3 boys, 2 girls. So we're going to make a tape diagram, 3 boxes by 2 boxes. Everybody do that.
You could just write boys.
Oh, really? Just write boys and girls down on your sheet. And right now, in that given ratio, each box has a value of 1. So that is making our 3 to 2 ratio, right? I want you to make another tape diagram, 3 boxes by 2. But this time, I'm going to tell you that each box is worth 2. So fill it in. If I tell you that the value of each box is 2, how many boys and how many girls are on that team? Alexandra. 6 to 4. Alexandra, you just created an equivalent ratio. Look back at your table. You did it up here too. 6 to 4. Make another tape diagram. Ready? Here comes a hard one. Each box is worth 9. Therefore, how many boys, how many girls?
Done.
Will,
There's 27 boys, 6 girls.
you just made an equivalent ratio. Why this comes in handy, here, this might work best for you, because look, watch. What if I went back to this table and told you 27 boys? It might take you a little bit longer to figure out how many girls, but a tape diagram helps you to see that. Okay? It's just another strategy to come up with equivalent ratios. You do what works best for you, and we're going to be doing them over and over and over again. This is not going to be the first nor the last time that you see this. All right, we have a couple of minutes left, so I want to make sure you're clear on what is what. In your Lesson 1 booklet, which you're currently in, go to the very last page. It says problem set, right? It has a page, problem set. The page on the back of that is tonight's homework. But you're only going to do the first 2. So if you want to circle 1 and 2, do that now, 1 and 2. Now guys, this is due tomorrow. Do not get it confused with the review sheet, which is due Friday. Okay? This review sheet's in your review sheet section. This book 1, which includes the problem set, is in module. Okay?
Yeah, can I listen tomorrow?
The problem set, you're only doing the first 2, 1 and 2. Yes. Will. Hold on, excuse me, Will. Yes, you can hand in the review sheet early. You're more than welcome to. Okay, you can be done with it. That's fine. Any questions, guys? Any questions? All right, just sit and wait for the bell.